guys. Thanks for joining us on the Elation podcast today. We have a special episode here at the Folk Alliance Music Festival, or Music Conference, which is a great collective of artists and entertainers and anything across the spectrum of the music to get together, international. But we are here today with Hilary Saunders. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
Good to have you.
Yeah, thanks for coming to Folk Alliance.
I love this place. This is awesome.
It's the best. I've been coming regularly since 2018, and this is my second year on the board of directors.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You must be doing something right.
I hope so. Here's hoping.
That's awesome. Well, so we'll talk about a bunch of Folk Alliance stuff, but let's just dive into you real quick. Where are you from, and what is your job here at Folk Alliance?
Ooh, okay. I am a bit of a nomad.
Okay.
I spent about the last 10 years on and off in New York City, so that and Miami are kind of the closest things I have to home.
Gotcha.
I live in Glasgow.
Wow.
In Scotland now.
Wow.
I'm the managing editor of No Depression, which is a roots music publication celebrating its 30th year.
Wow.
And I have been doing that for the past 8 years or so. And like I said, I'm on the board of directors here at Folk Alliance. So I am here both in a professional capacity and as a volunteer to the organization.
Scotland.
Yes.
Why?
I just started a PhD program in music and cultural policy at the University of Glasgow.
Awesome. Well, that sounds like fun.
It's a lot of work.
I bet it is. I bet it is. Is that something you knew you were going for, or is it something that popped up?
I've been really interested in this PhD topic and my research topic for a long time now, since I was an undergrad, actually. And my mom has her PhD, and so academia has always been celebrated and respected in my family.
Gotcha. So the more the better, right?
Absolutely. Well, and as a journalist and as a writer and an editor and a storyteller, the idea of being able to spend so much time, concentrated time on a specific topic to create a long-form piece of writing is also really exciting to me.
Absolutely. Well, I also feel like as a journalist and as a writer, you should know a bunch of things so that you can land the plane on, things that people don't necessarily grasp. But if you know a little bit about everything, you can kind of dive in, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, how's Scotland? Do you love Scotland?
It is definitely a change from New York City.
I bet.
It's great to be out of the US right now.
Yeah.
And the weather is horrid. It's absolutely terrible. It's like 3 hours of daylight and is horrible. Yeah. But no, I teach in one of the oldest universities in the world. And the main building on the University of Glasgow campus was the inspiration for the Harry Potter movies. Wow. So it really feels like a fairy tale.
That's cool. So you kind of feel like you're in a storybook.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Where does music play into your life?
Oh gosh, it's everything. I was a classically trained harpist.
Wow.
And that was quite literally.
That's not an easy thing to play.
It's not. It's not.
I put that up there with the stand-up bass and the harp are pretty much the two hardest things to play in my world that I've ever experienced.
Do you play anything?
Well, keyboard. I don't play anything.
Okay.
I don't play anything important. But I've watched and I've done live sound before. So talking and watching. I realize that those are very, very hard instruments.
Yeah, trying to mic a harp and make sure that it sounds good, especially in the mix with everything.
Yes.
Whew.
You got some frequencies there that are extra.
And then you make it weird with some harmonics and stuff, and it's a whole, mad respect, friend. So I started playing music when I was 7 years old. It was my first job was actually harpist in chamber music trio.
Oh, wow.
But I started writing in a journalistic sense as a teenager and realized fairly quickly that I could do more good as a narrative storyteller than I could as a professional musician. I just had to practice so much to be good.
Right.
But music is my first love. And informs everything that I do. So running a music magazine, the PhD is in music and cultural policy, basically music and cities or music and sustainable urban development. Yeah, it's really the foundation.
Yeah, and it's, especially with like an instrument like the harp, there's almost no ending to what you can learn on it, correct?
Absolutely,
You know, so which is part of the reason why I love music so much. I'm a math and science guy, so there's no end to what we can learn in math and science, and I can be researching and doing things till the end of my life.
Yeah,
and still not know everything.
The last math class I took in college was called finite math, and I was like, that's the end. I've done all of the math. So
I wouldn't like that class.
Great, you keep doing the rest.
I think that would depress me. No, this is not the last problem we're going to solve. Anyway, that's funny. It's just such a beautiful blend, though. I feel like music brings culture. It blends education status. It blends languages. It blends all kinds of things.
Exactly.
Which is why I love Folk Alliance, because you guys aren't just in New Orleans. You guys are a little bit everywhere.
The organization is actually headquartered in Kansas City. And I personally have been to conferences in Montreal, in Kansas City, here in New Orleans, and I'm blanking on somewhere else. I know that next year we'll be in Chicago, and then the next few locations are still to be determined.
Gotcha.
So truly all over North America.
What's your favorite spot so far?
Oh man,
each
place has its own benefits. I'm a little partial to Montreal just because I had the 2 times I was there for this conference were just really special.
Gotcha.
Quite literally lifelong friends. But I think Kansas City is very underrated. And I'm looking forward to Chicago. It's been a long time since I've been in that city, and it's a great place.
Oh, Chicago's a great town.
But of course, to have, one of the most important folk music conferences and festivals in the world in a music city like New Orleans is so special.
What do you think New Orleans brings specifically to Folk Alliance that doesn't happen elsewhere?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I just came here to record this from the keynote event of the conference, and it's Big Frida in conversation with Tank of Tank and the Bangas. And those are like 2 New Orleans icons, like just funk, soul, bounce, legends that just like define this city and its music scene. And you can't get that anywhere in the world.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had Tank on our podcast. It's awesome. She's
excellent.
Awesome. Yeah. She's awesome. I love that whole. It's kind of like a whole genre or generation of music in that sense, and it's so creative, which
Definitely.
It just goes back to the New Orleans feel, is that you can kind of do it however you see fit.
Well, and it's so expressive too, and there's an authenticity there that I think is incapable of being replicated.
Absolutely. Well, what would be your favorite guest, you think, overall over the years that you've had at Folk Alliance?
Oh man, I think that's an unfair question.
Okay.
Because part of the magic of Folk Alliance is that thousands of people come here from quite literally all over the world. And all day there are these really thoughtful conversations, presentations, keynote addresses, workshops of that are full of just practical information for working musicians about licensing, about copyright, about how to tour with your instruments, visa applications, really useful stuff.
Right.
Then you have all of the official showcases, and then there's a break if you're able to get it. And then all night you have at least 3 entire floors of the hotel and conference center blocked off. Each individual hotel room is cleared out, and individuals or groups come in, take over a room, and curate it with hundreds, thousands of different performing artists from, again, all over the world. And so no one's experience at Folk Alliance is going to be the same.
Right.
So I can tell you one of my favorite experiences was my first Folk Alliance, and I found a crew from Alaska who had taken over a room and was basically standing at the door in the hallway trying to bring people into their room because they had a stuffed bear, beer that they had imported from Alaska, and were offering free hugs at the door. And I was like, I guess y'all are my friends now. And quite literally, they are some of my closest friends to this day.
That's awesome.
You know, are they the ones who have won Grammys?
Right.
Yet? No.
Right.
Are they some of the greatest people? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So, unfair question, my friend.
Unfair question. Well, you know, the Grammys and the accolades are all nice, but in the end, we're all musicians. We all chase after the same dream, right?
Exactly.
There's no right answer to anyone's thought process to music, which is another reason why I love it, because you can approach it however you hear it.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
What do you think if I was an artist and I only had chance to do one speaker or to do one event here at Folk Alliance, what would be the one that you would recommend?
Again, it sort of depends on what you need.
Right.
Because you can kind of find it. As a member of the board of directors, I moderated a panel on how to tour with your instruments safely. It was a webinar, but it's been sort of adapted and shared in other ways. So for my fellow large instrument playing
Right.
you know, colleagues.
Carrying a harp is not easy.
I felt like that was a really important discussion point and informational session. And the panelists were working musicians, lobbyists, and folks who had connections with the airline industry in the US, and folks who were deep involved in like visa processing. And so it was such a well-rounded group. And so if that's an issue for, you know, a musician who is attending Folk Alliance for the first time, like we got it.
Right.
But there are a number of musicians here who are trying to break into folk music radio, for example.
Right.
And there's so many affinity groups and official and sort of like loosely affiliated connections where like you can just find those people, and it's folk music, right? Like everyone is here to like appreciate the art form and try to build community.
How would you define folk?
So I'll bring it back to my job, since I'm a little all over the place representing a number of different things here. But with no depression, we like to refer to it as roots music. We cover roots music. And I like to break that down even further of any sort of music of the people.
Right.
It doesn't matter what people, it doesn't matter where the people are. It is music of the people. It's an umbrella term, of course. It can include folk.
Right.
It can include bluegrass, blues, singer-songwriters, anything like that. But music of the people.
I love it. I mean, it's what most music is, I feel like. But when it, you know, I guess when it truly gets that like roots, it really becomes the folk music, right?
Yeah.
We have a lot of obviously local bands that I feel like fit in that genre.
Absolutely.
You know, loosely some of the jazz musicians that we have down here and some of the people, but I feel like it does fit in that world.
Totally.
So this is a perfect fit for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so proud that we have continued to try to sort of like push the envelope of what falls under that roots music umbrella. We've published multiple fascinating, insightful stories about like Mardi Gras Indians, for example.
Right.
Like, what are those roots? Where does this tradition come from? And then like, what is this sound? It is so cool.
Right.
What does it, you know, cull from, and what does it bring to, you know, the greater New Orleans sound.
Absolutely.
And that's, so important to this place and this community.
Absolutely. Well, and then you find out that Mardi Gras was just because they wanted to party before Lent.
Yeah.
You realize who the city was, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
And we definitely love to party. But what I think is great about this event is I think it brings the ability to some giggy musicians that don't normally get to play in New Orleans that can do pop-ups and things that these bars probably don't even know can happen.
Yep.
So I feel like there's a lot of those natural moments.
Totally.
That could happen.
Oh, yeah. And I don't even know most of them this time around. But I am sure that it's going to happen. And, that's Folk Alliance. Unofficially, officially, it goes until 2 a.m.
Right.
Who knows what happens between 2 a.m. and when the schedule begins again the next day at 9 a.m.
Right.
Anything.
Absolutely. Well, first day, things seem to be, everybody's a little bit more happy and up. Next day, everybody's a little more red-eyed and slower to pace, right?
Yeah, by Sunday, Godspeed.
That's awesome. Is there a favorite food that you have when you're here?
Ooh, I'm a vegetarian. Okay. So the last time I was in New Orleans was 2014, and I could barely eat
anything. Yeah, we're a little different now. We found
it's a little better.
Yeah.
I am trying to eat beignets and coffee from a new place every day that I'm here, though.
Gotcha.
I will say that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll just go with beignets and coffee and be that way.
I did get a vegetarian po' boy from Killer Po' Boys on my first night, though.
Oh.
So I'll name drop that.
Okay.
There was veggie collard greens, some black-eyed pea spread, and some roasted sweet potatoes.
Okay.
So not traditional.
Right.
But
we don't do
good.
traditional here.
Real good, though.
Yeah, that's all that matters, right?
Yeah.
Well, what do you think, if there was an overall perspective of the music industry here in the U.S., because obviously you're international, what do you think is the number one thing artists have to attack?
That's a hard question. I think it really depends on each individual musician.
Okay.
I hate to say it, but finances are huge right now. Just because of the instability politically, economically, artistically.
Right, and the pay-to-play type of model that we have.
It's so important for artists to look after themselves.
Right.
I promise I'll get back to this question, but I'm going to give you a circuitous response.
I'm good around the circle. Let's go.
So, No Depression was actually named after a song by the Carter family from the Great Depression. And the chorus goes, no depression in heaven, basically. And when I started this job in 2017, I didn't know that much about the Carter family. I didn't know that much about Uncle Tupelo, the band that named their 1995 record No Depression after that song, and the original co-founders of the magazine culled from that record. But the longer that I've been in this role and in this field, the more I think about how No Depression as a title is actually so important to the musicians that we have the honor of covering. That you got to take care of your finances and your mental health, and those two things are so related, even more so now than ever.
100%.
So I really, empathize with working musicians right now, trying to juggle all of these things in an unstable environment. And I also think a lot about how we consider the music industry, and the emphasis in recent years and decades has become on the industry and not the music.
Right.
But music itself is community. It's art. it's tradition, it's, oral storytelling
Right.
and preservation. And while many of us still have to exist within the industry
Right.
of it all, it also comprises so much more. And so for those working musicians that you're asking about, I caution and maybe remind y'all that if you have to generate an income to pay your rent and your health insurance and whatever else you need through other means, that doesn't mean you're not still a musician and an artist. Because like I said, music is community.
Right.
So we're living in a weird time. We're
Yeah.
living in a weird time.
Yeah, I almost think you should treat it as research and development. When you're out working, you should be listening to stories, listening to words,
Absolutely.
listening to things, and then turn those into songs.
Yep.
Research and development, right?
Yeah.
And artists nowadays have to think of themselves more of a brand than they ever did. And Nike didn't get anywhere by not spending money on advertising. So
Yeah.
when I go back to the pay to play, you've got to treat yourself like a brand.
I'm gonna look in the camera though and say, Nike, if you want to fund my nonprofit publication or any of these artists at Folk Alliance, you call me.
You call me, right? Just do it.
Yep. Swoosh.
It's really crazy because I feel like it almost takes the fun out of music.
Yeah, it does. Every musician that I know has to work, and that I work with, has to work so hard on their social media presence, on, like you said, their branding, on their communication, their dialogue with their fans, and the people who are being weird and like stalking their Instagrams.
Right.
Instead of being able to focus on their art.
Right. Well, it's also a difference in the type of celebrity that you are nowadays because I feel like, before social media, you could be a character on stage and protect yourself, right? And to have that separation of this is me on stage, this is me at home.
Yep.
I feel like that separation can't be anymore.
It's certainly harder.
Right.
Yeah.
Because of how social, because of every camera, because every room you walk into, someone's filming.
Yeah.
So you'd never have the
I
ability.
read an article the other day that was basically saying how people don't go to clubs anymore. They don't dance as much anymore because they know that someone is always going to have their phone out and they don't want to be caught like looking weird.
Right.
Type thing.
Yeah.
That's so sad
It's
to me.
sad, but it's funny. I read something too. The bar owners or the club owners are also a participant in that ruining because they put too many tables on the dance floor. I don't know if you noticed, but the dance floors became VIP tables with the bottles and all that, and there's the dance floor got narrower and narrower, and it was all about selling bottles and da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
And now everybody just sits in the booth and pours drinks and nobody dances.
Yeah. Well, if I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do it at home
I mean,
in my sweatpants.
I might even dance at home, right? But awesome. Well, listen, it was great talking to you today.
Yeah, thanks so much for the opportunity. Thank you for thinking of me and No Depression.
Absolutely.
And Folk Alliance.
And Folk Alliance, absolutely. No,
All my many hats.
We love having you guys here, and we appreciate the effort and what you bring to the city, and we can't wait to have you again.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
I look forward to it.
So we thank you guys for joining us today, and if you'd like to please like and subscribe, if you'd like to see more, please do. Peace.